Hello and welcome to Beach View, our podcast about different things and/or stuff.
Yes, and today's things and stuff, we're going to be talking about music. Again, we're going to do a mixtape, but this time we did it by decades.
Yep, that's the theme for this mixtape. We each pick 5 decades, so 5 songs from a different decade.
That's right. I wanted to do ones where we covered a bunch of different decades, but then I was like, I'm not really getting anything from the 1920s, so it's like, we'll have some that overlap.
Yeah, you wanted to go further back.
Yeah, I wanted to just be goofy and be I got this composition from the 1800s.
Yeah.
But I was like, it takes a little too much work.
Yeah, I did as recent as possible, so the 80s to the 2020s.
Yeah, and I started off in the 70s, and I wanted to go backward, but I ended up not. I ended up going forward, so But I think it'll be funny to see how different our songs from those decades are.
Oh yeah. I've definitely noticed at least one big difference between my picks and yours.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's do chronological order,
okay.
And yours would be first.
Okay. So, I'll start with my first song, I Want to Be Sedated by the Ramones. Now, this song came out in 1978, which I was kind of surprised by that date because I was just automatically thinking 80s, early 80s, but it's not far off, but
yeah,
I think it's just really funny that 1978 seems so long ago, music-wise, and it's just one of those really recognized songs, and so it just kind of anytime I hear a song, I was thinking of that song, House of the Rising Sun.
Yeah.
Which is, I think from the 60s.
I believe so.
And I just, you still hear it, played every now and then, I guess in New Orleans. But
yeah,
it's just funny that it's it was so long ago, but it's everyone knows it, And that's how I felt about this song.
Yeah, this is definitely a classic. Classic of punk, which is kind of funny to think about because punk was the newcomer to rock and roll when it came out, but now it's just another classic rock sound.
Right, exactly. And that's why I picked this one, because I'm it's got such it's just recognizable in every way. The band, the singer has that distinct look,
Mm-hmm.
And it's when you see it, you know it. Well, at least I do. But and this song is just one of those you're always gonna hear. I feel I don't know. Was this song familiar to you?
Yeah, not the most familiar as far as classic punk or the Ramones go, but yeah, I've heard the song before.
Yeah, and I mean the Ramones was obviously before my time, but it's just I think it just reminds me of I used to watch 80s shows and movies and stuff just because it was kind of a funny thing to watch older stuff, and it just reminds me of that it's definitely, so it's 1978, but it's definitely for me has 80s vibes.
Yeah, well, I'm sure this was in a ton of movies and stuff in the 80s.
Yeah, definitely, but I don't know, I think it's even the references. So I just remember a Gossip Girl, the original Gossip Girl episode where the dad dresses the Ramones for Halloween. It's just such a funny reference to me.
Yeah.
I don't know about funny, but just interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you feel about the song in general?
It's okay. I'm not a huge fan of the early punk stuff like the Ramones. This is fine, but
yeah,
I guess just I've heard it hundreds of times, this sound, and it's kind of just I don't know. I like some of the later punk stuff more than the really early stuff, so.
Yeah, I could say my punk jams are definitely early 2000s kind of punk.
Yeah.
But I just I don't know, I thought this was an iconic song of its time.
Yes, definitely.
So do you want to hit yours?
Actually, you are next since we're going chronological.
Okay. So my 80s song is Take On Me by a-ha.
Mm-hmm.
And that was published in 1985. So this to me is a quintessential 80s song.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Did I get that? Yeah, I think I got the year right in the 1985.
I'm reading on Wikipedia that the single first came out in 1984.
Okay, 1984.
And then they re-released it in 1985.
Gotcha.
I don't know what's going on there.
Well, that's okay. So this is definitely, so Take On Me, this is another one of those like super recognizable songs to me. I can just like, when I hear the song, I just picture people like doing their little 80s dance moves to this, you know, like the beat, like the keyboard, the style of the singing is just like so 80s, you know?
Yeah, this is like one of the quintessential 80s songs. Like it was very popular at the time, still popular now.
Yeah.
Like it's that synth sound that became characteristic for the decade.
Yes.
And like the music video, you know, because the 80s was the big music video decade too. This is like one of the most famous music videos. So yeah, definitely a quintessential pick.
It reminds me of the 80s. So like for my decade pick, I was like, I want to do, and that's kind of what I went in here thinking of, like, what is a song that like I would categorize like immediately as being from that decade? So, which I mean, I guess I kind of like for the Ramones, I was thinking it was 80s, so so that might be off. But anyway, this one is definite 80s vibe all the way. And it's one of those songs that like even if I hear it now, like I'll sing along to it. You know, like it's just it sticks with you.
Yeah, I don't like this song.
I knew you wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this 80s synth pop style. Honestly, I don't like the 80s much in general. And also, like, I've heard it hundreds of times, so I can't really accurately evaluate it. It's like one of those overplayed songs.
It is, you know? It is. Yeah, and my pick was either this or like a Pat Benatar song, so...
okay. I would have liked that one better.
I thought I almost did Pat Benatar, but I was like, oh, let me do something that's a little like, I don't know, 80s-esque. So
yeah, the falsetto's cool, I guess, but that's about all I like about it.
Well, good. And so what's your 80s pick?
So yes, my 80s pick is Hounds of Love by Kate Bush from the 1985 album Hounds of Love, so it's the title track.
Okay.
So I was always going to pick Kate Bush for the 80s. She's about the only 80s artist I like. She was really big in the UK and never really made it over to the US. So are you familiar with Kate Bush?
No, I'm not familiar. And so I think that's it was funny because I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like I'm not familiar with this artist, so.
Yeah, so if you're from the UK, this is quintessential 80s listening, but yeah, like I said, never really made it over in the US, except in, like, indie music circles, where people have been singing her praise as one of the best, like, pop artists of all time for years and years.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought about doing the most popular song from this album, Running Up That Hill, which was popular beforehand, one of her only hits to make it in the US, and then it blew up again because Stranger Things used it.
Oh.
So yeah, like last year or something, it got a whole like new wave of people listening to it.
I wonder if I know that one. I'm gonna have to listen to that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I decided to go with the less popular pick. Still a single, but not as big, especially in the US.
Okay. Well, I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
To me, this is also like very 80s.
Yeah, definitely.
It really, like the whole time I'm listening, it really reminds me of a more recent song. And for the life of me, like I cannot think of what it is. It might be that song that you're talking about, actually.
Oh, maybe so. But she's been pretty influential on like English pop singers. Like I know that's you listen to some of the later English pop stars, they've like definitely taken some influence from her.
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. So I just Googled your song, the one that you said was popular, That's the one I was thinking of.
Oh, okay, okay.
It reminded me of Running Up That Hill. Yes. Okay. That is hilarious. I'm like, it sounds just like it reminds me of this newer song, but I didn't realize that it was an older song. Oh my God. And I didn't know who it was or what the name of the song was.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay. So I was right on target.
Yeah, so speaking of less popular, though, that's kind of a theme with mine. All your songs are very, like, popular, like...
Yes. Yes. Yeah, because I went with the, like, what, to me, like, if you say, like, 80s song, like, what would pop in my head? Like, that's kind of what I went with.
That's what I went with for some of mine, but not all of mine.
Yes.
And I also went a bit less popular than you did.
Yeah. A little bit. I thought about going more obscure, but I was like, I'll keep. Let me think of like what pops in my head.
But yeah, what'd you think of this song?
For this song, like, yes, I liked it. Again, that is just really funny that it reminded me exactly of this artist and the song that I heard more recently. So it was like in the back of my head, and I'm like, oh, this song reminds me so much of this other artist. I can't think of who it is or what the name of the song is, but that is exactly it. But I thought it was like, again, it's got that quintessential 80s sound. So it's definitely, I think, even if it wasn't as popular here, like it has that, 80s sound to it, and good example of the decade.
Yeah, I really like this song. I like the strings.
Yeah.
Which is like what this, the main instrument in this song. I like Kate Bush's singing. I really like the energy in this song.
Yeah.
To me, this is like pop music at its absolute best.
It is. I think you're like spot on there, because it is like pop, and it's as I said, quintessential 80s, but it's like a different, I think like all the qualities of it, something that you like. It's not as like I guess like on the nose as like the song that I picked, you know what I mean? Good pick.
Yeah. So, I believe your 90s song is next.
Okay. So this, again, is another, like, super quintessential song of this decade to me. So it's Glycerine by Bush, and this was a 1994 song. And to me, this song is just a whole mood. Like, tell me what you think of it.
Yeah, no, I really like this song. Yeah, it's, definitely quintessential 90s. It's, like, very grunge song.
Yes.
And it also has that, like, heavily distorted guitar plus a string section, which is like such a big 90s rock sound. Like there's so many different 90s rock songs that have that.
Yes. I really like this song. This is another one that, like, I don't hear it often now, but if I do, when I do hear it, it's like, oh, I love that song. And that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted like a grunge 90s song. And this was like after like thinking of some other ones, I'm like, no, it's not like capturing what I wanted to capture, And then I was like, oh, it's Glycerine. Like this is I don't know, it's just like moody, and I just really like it. But and it was definitely like one of those popular like in the grunge, category. So no, I really like it.
Yeah, also lyrically, it's got that 90s, like, vague, almost nonsensical lyrics.
Yeah, I'm always like, what is Glycerine? Like, it's like you're singing along to these songs. And of course, like in the 90s, I'm like a little kid, like singing along to these songs. I have no idea what they're talking about.
Well, some of them are very,
kind
of odd.
Right, exactly. But that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, I really like the guitar riff on this. I really like the strings. The swelling energy in the chorus, like, the vocals get a bit more strained, and the guitar gets a bit louder. I like that. I really like the bridge, too.
Yes.
Where it's like the guitar build up, and then it cuts out to mostly strings.
Yes, I loved it. Like, this is a song, like, I have no complaints about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some songs I'm like, I like this, but I don't know, that kind of annoys me. Like, this whole song is just, like, I like the whole thing. I like, the instrumental parts. I like the singing. Like I still have this like a little bit of bitter feeling about Gavin Rossdale for what he did to Gwen Stefani.
Oh,
But
I forgot about that.
yeah, but at the time that this was popular, he was still a cool guy, but now I don't like him, but
Yeah, good song. Very 90s.
definitely.
Alright, my 90s song, a bit of a long title, Standing Outside a Broken Phone Booth with Money in My Hand by Primitive Radio Gods.
Yes.
Which is a single from the 1996 album Rocket. You heard this one before?
I have, yes.
Yeah, I figured. Kind of a one-hit wonder, but...
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't remember any other songs, like, from the album. But, yeah, I definitely remember the song, but it was kind of like a vague memory resurfaced, Like, it was like, oh, this sounds familiar. Like, it's not one that I would, like, come to mind normally.
Yeah.
But I like the piano in this song a lot. Thought that was nice. And it reminded me of, do you know that song Philadelphia?
By who?
You're gonna ask me that. Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, no, I have not.
Well, it's 1993 song.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, it just had that, like, vibe to me.
Oh, okay.
But this is a long song, too.
Yeah, it is.
It's got a long title, and it's a long song.
Yeah, so when I was thinking 90s, I was like, I want to do something that's kind of representative of the decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was going back and forth. I was thinking maybe I'm Only Happy When It Rains by Garbage.
Yeah.
Maybe like a Nirvana or Bush song, which were two like popular grunge bands.
Uh-huh.
But I went with this. It's not like too grungy, but it's very like 90s alternative rock.
Yeah. It's definitely got that like 90s sound. And it's funny because I almost went with Nirvana too, but ended up with Bush. But I like the instrumentation a lot, like in this song, especially at the end.
Yeah, it gets very busy at the end, and I like that.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's got like a more like, I don't want to say like a calmer like
mood
to it, but but I liked it. It was good.
Yeah, it's very contemplative.
Yes.
I feel like it's got that 90s ennui all over it.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. Good use of that word, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I figured you'd appreciate the Bourbon Street reference in the song.
Yes, of course. I always like my Louisiana references here. So, yeah, I enjoyed that one. I was going to point that out, too.
Yeah, very 90s. I really like the sample it uses. It's from B.B. King's How Blue Can You Get? I think they make great use of that.
I did not pick up on that.
Oh,
That's
I looked
cool.
that up. I mean, I knew it was a sample, but I looked it up.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and I like the instruments. I like the repeated figure throughout that's kind of like the simple drum and bass thing. That's the base of the song.
Yeah.
And then it layers stuff on top of it. There's use of bells and piano in this that I really like.
Yeah, I couldn't piano obviously, but I was like, oh, I really like the instruments in here, and I was trying to pick out what certain sounds were, and I'm like, I'm not good at that. So I kind of gave up, but yeah, good vibes.
Yeah, I think next is your song from the 2000s.
Yes, so my song is from the year 2000, Y2K, and I throw that reference in there. And it is Last Resort by Papa Roach.
Yes.
So I know you know this song.
Yes, of course, very popular.
Super popular, kind of a grim song.
Yes.
But to me, it was the perfect example of the early 2000s rock genre.
Yeah.
This song came out of nowhere. When it came out, I remember it, and it came out, it was like, whoa, this is a new sound, kind of. You know what I mean? It was just one that, I think caught America by storm. And I thought it was interesting that, it was as popular as it was because it is a song about, suicide and, self-harm. So it was just kind of an interesting that it like became such a huge, I think, example of that genre,
Yeah, well, I think that is, because there was plenty of, like, negative thoughts and emotions in a lot of 90s rock, especially grunge.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they were more vague about it, like, more content to sort of bury it in vague lyrics, and in the 2000s, it was all, like, right there more often.
Yes, a good way to put it. It was, like, in your face, and this is, I always say, it's, like, one of the songs you hear it now, and it's, like, yes, it just, like, kind of brings you back to the time. Like, I remember hearing this, like, seeing the video, like, on MTV, like, Total Request Live, you know what I mean? Like, it just was like, oh, that's a cool song,
Yeah.
And the album cover just, like, sticks with you, probably because I hate roaches.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, it was such, like, a prime example of the 2000s for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a, like, very good guitar riff, and it's that, like, nu metal sound that was, like, all over the place in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Like, in your face, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, this is a decent song. I don't have any strong opinions of it, just, like, this is, like, you listen to this and you think of the 2000s.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So what's your 2000s song?
Yes, so my 2000s song is This Modern Love by Bloc Party from the 2005 album Silent Alarm.
Yeah.
And for the 2000s, I wanted to pick an alternative rock song because I really like 2000s alt-rock.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite genres historically. And I was thinking, Bloc Party works, yeah. I was like,
love it.
Just pick a band at random. Jan, so what'd you think of this one?
I like the music. I thought it was a good song. I like the kind of more like soft-spoken lyrics.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I didn't care for is like the little interjections, like the jump right, jump left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't like that part. I don't know why, I just like that kind of annoyed me a little bit, but but the rest of the song I enjoyed.
Yeah, so this is kind of a faster tempo but still melancholic song at first, but then it like sort of builds an energy at the end. But yeah, you're right, the like vocal delivery is pretty soft spoken throughout, so it's kind of got this more mellow vibe.
Yeah,
and I really like the guitar in this song. I mean, I like the guitars from this era of alt-rock in general. Like, I think there's really good guitar work this whole decade.
I was gonna say, the guitar is really cool. Like, to me, like, the mood of this song is, like, you're sitting in, like, kind of an alternative, like, coffee house in New York, and it's raining outside.
Well, this is a British band, so...
Okay, in London. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. It was a good example of alt rock for sure in the 2000s.
Yeah, and I like the lyrics here. It's about modern love, as the band understands it, I suppose. It's like the speaker has emotional problems of some sort and expects their partner to like surpass that.
Yeah.
And I like how it's kind of ambiguous, because at the end there's like the line, this modern love breaks me, this modern love wastes me, this like repeated refrain.
Yeah.
But then at the end, the music sort of picks up and hits like kind of a triumphant note.
Yeah.
And the last lyrics are, do you want to come over and kill some time, throw your arms around me?
Yeah.
Which, yeah, like it leaves it kind of ambiguous at the end.
Yeah, you kind of feel like the need, like that, they want somebody to love them,
Yeah.
And that was kind of a cool little thing, but definitely I like how you said like the energy kind of changes. It kind of has that little like hopeful kind of feel at the end.
Yeah, good song. Next, you did not do a 2010 song.
Nope, I skipped it.
Yeah, which is a shame. That's one of my favorite decades for music.
It's a good decade for music, I'm not gonna lie.
But I mean, I'm kind of upset that I only got one song from it, because I picked a bit of a weird one, Hope in My Heart by Dntel, from the 2018 album Hate in My Heart. This is a very obscure song. You might have heard of Dntel before. He's part of the Postal Service. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I felt like it was familiar, like, felt like the name was familiar to me.
Yeah, so, they used to have a higher profile, and the Postal Service was big when they came out. Such Great Heights and The District Sleeps Alone Tonight. I'm sure you've heard those songs.
You know I'm bad with song names, but if I heard the song, I'd probably know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this is, like, post, Dntel kind of falling off in popularity. So, obscure song, and I picked this because it's weird electronic music, and I like weird electronic music.
It's definitely weird electronic music. But no, I think it was a soothing, like, instrumental song. I think I like the little, like, I don't know what you call them, but I said I like the little trills at the end. You know, like, it kind of goes up. I definitely don't know the technical name for that, but but I liked it. This is definitely, to me, like, one of those, like, life soundtrack songs. I always think, you know how I always say, like, I wish I had, like, a soundtrack to my own life. I think it would just add to, like, the whole vibe of, like, what's going on at the time.
Yeah.
And this was, like, one of those songs that would definitely, like, fit into my soundtrack.
It's interesting that you say it's soothing, because I think it's kind of tense.
Oh, no, I thought it was soothing. Like, I just found it to be, like, kind of just, like, low-key. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and to me, that it just kind of, like, I guess after, like, Papa Roach.
Yeah.
It had this, like, soothing, feeling to me.
Because, so the main body of it is this one, like, synth string melody that's repeated all throughout the song. And there's, like, a warbling texture in the background with some synth strings. And to me, that adds, like, a little bit of tension.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not too much, because it's, like, a consonant song all the way through.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit a lot of heavy dissonances. But to me, that sort of, like, background texture adds a little bit of tension to it.
I could see how you say that.
Yeah.
I didn't, like, pick up on that as, like, the main mood, but I definitely can see how you could say that. And I'm glad that you, like, can describe it, like, technically like that, because I was like, oh, cool sounds.
Yeah, and it gradually introduces more strings as the song goes on. But yeah, kind of a weird electronic song, because it's, like, instrumental with some, kind of weird string, timbres. Yeah, I like the sound of the strings. I think it's really cool.
It is.
I like this song a lot.
Me too. I'm glad you picked it, because this was one that would not have been on my radar otherwise.
Yep. Yeah, I think next is your 2020 song.
Okay, so my 2020 song was from the year 2020.
Yeah.
Which is hard to think about. That was that many years ago now. Because it's just such a blur. But this song, Heat Waves by the Glass Animals. So I'm curious to know, did you hear the song before?
No, but okay. I did look it up and saw that it was very popular.
Yes.
I've heard of Glass Animals before, because some other song they had went popular in, like, 2014.
Okay.
But I had not heard this song.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, because, like, if I were to say, like, Heat Waves by the Glass Animals to, like, anybody I know, I don't think they would really know the song. But it was, like, a hugely popular song, and I think it was so popular because it was one that I kept hearing, like, on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, through 2020, and to me, like, I just started hearing it more recently on the radio every once in a while, and so I think it's just, like, an example of how music is consumed now.
Yeah.
I feel like it like, skyrocketed because it was, like, a social media song. And at first, when you hear, like, at least for me, when I start hearing, like, the song on a bunch of videos, I'm like, ugh, like, pick a new song, But then, like, it gets, like, in your brain, and it's like, oh, I like that song. I don't know, it just, like, it gets in your head. But I like this song, and to me, it was indicative of its time. So even though, 2020 wasn't that long ago.
Well, I feel like it's too early to say,
Yeah. I guess I just mean of that year, not of the decade, since we're just in the beginning of the decade, but, like, of that year. It reminded me a lot of that time. So that was, it's one of those years that will always probably stay in my mind because of the whole pandemic thing. And so that's, I guess this song, like, kind of just reminds me At that time, that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. Would you call this chill low-key?
I would. Like, it probably wouldn't be on my chill low-key playlist.
Oh, okay.
But but it's a good song, and it is more chill, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you were utterly unsurprised to learn that I don't like this song.
I knew you wouldn't like the song, yes.
Every time we have a song from this genre, the like Taylor Swift stuff that borders on this genre,
yes,
like just
exactly.
every time I don't like it. I don't like this genre, this like alternative R&B sort of sound.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't like it. Something about like the vocal delivery, like there's this vocal quality that all these songs go for that I don't like. And the drums. I don't know what it is about the like electronic percussion, but I just don't like it.
Yeah, it's like its own like I don't even know how to describe it, but there's definitely that particular sound or I guess vibe, I don't know, that you don't like, but I do like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just like such an example of that genre too.
It is. It really is.
This is so boring to me.
Well, it's funny because like you said, I'm always a chill low key, song person. But this is like a different category of chill low key to me. Like I would not like put this on my chill low key playlist. It's not a song like I want to listen to all the time. But it is an example of that kind of mood, I guess. But just a different type of mood for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my 2020 song should have been Me by Mitski from the 2022 album Laurel Hell. I haven't listened to a ton of new music in the past 3 years, so this kind of got in by default. I've talked about this album on the podcast before, actually, on one of our current viewings.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the album, but I did like this song, so...
Well, I remember the artist's name because I remember you talking about it, so...
Yeah. Well, she's pretty big in the indie scene.
Okay.
And has been for a few years now.
I mean, I like the song. I didn't have any kind of issue with it. To me, it has, like, an old school sound, like it would have been in an 80s movie.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, it's kind of a jaunty song.
Jaunty,
like,
yeah.
This, oddly enough, is, like, kind of, out there for Mitski.
Yeah?
At least from, like, the rest of the album, I felt like. The instrumentation's different than what she normally does. Because the keyboard, I think, there's a keyboard, like, that makes the bulk of the, like, introduction. That has, like, a bit of a weird sound to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got this, like, slapped guitar tone throughout. I don't know what that's called. I recognize it because I hear it in other songs, but...
I think that, I mean, I'm not a music person, but I think that's what it's called because I hear Travis talking about, like, the slap method, like, on his bass.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's just called slap, so...
I mean, but there's this song, like, it sounds like it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, when you hear it, you know it. This song has it with its guitar. I like the chorus here. It's kind of, I don't know, big chorus sort of deal. And the, like, sort of post-chorus, like, synth section is neat.
Yeah. I like the sound of it, too. I thought it was good. And like I said, kind of that old school kind of feeling to me. So I always like that. When I was looking at, like, the 2020s, it's like, I don't know what song to pick. And then just, like, kind of looked at, like, the Billboard Top 100, just kind of trying to get an idea. And I'm like, I don't want to do any of these songs. Like, it's just like kind of, not that I dislike them, but I just couldn't think of one that, and I guess because we're so early into the 2020s still.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one that I wouldn't have come across. And I thought it has kind of a different sound than a lot of the, like, I guess, more popular songs that you're hearing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
You're like, I don't know. I don't listen to that.
Yeah, I don't listen to popular music.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Mitski's very big in the indie scene, like I said.
Yeah, I like it. I'm down with the indie scene. I think it's a good vibes all around.
I'm sure if there are certain places on TikTok where you would hear her everywhere.
Yeah.
You're probably just not in it.
Right. But anyway, all good. I think it's a good song.
Yeah, but Yeah, fun song. I like it. And that's our mixtape.
Yeah.
So what do you think overall? Like, how does this work as a mixtape?
I liked it. I like doing the mixtape by decades because to me that was fun. Like instead of just like having an ambiguous like, oh, we're doing a mixtape, like pick whatever. I liked having it by decade. It kind of narrowed it down for me.
Yeah, to be honest though, I don't think this works as a mixtape.
No, as a mixtape, you're right. It doesn't really work as a mixtape.
It's kind of all over the place, but it's definitely interesting to go through each decade and like pick a song, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely right. I enjoyed doing it, but as a mixtape, it's all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, it's very rock heavy, so some of it works, but you got like softer rock songs mixed in with like Papa Roach and the Ramones. And like,
yeah.
you know, like some electronica stuff thrown in there too. Like just as a splash
Exactly.
though, it's not like a cohesive thing.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I feel like some albums though that come out are kind of like that, where they're like all over the place.
Yeah.
Or, you know, when you're making like a true mixtape, like we used to back in the day, sometimes it is like super all over the place.
That's true.
So, I mean, I guess it could work.
I think it would be more cohesive than this, but I don't know.
Yeah. Not the way I used to make mixtapes.
No, maybe not. But...
I think that's, you know, as a kid when you're trying,
yeah.
trying to make a mixtape, it's like ridiculous. But yeah, no, I think I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters.
I mean, you know, you picked more popular songs, and I picked... they weren't unpopular, except the one Dntel song.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I picked a bit more obscure, you know?
Yeah.
Going a layer under.
Yeah, I was going for the, like, tell me what you think of when you hear 90s, you know?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely nailed that on all your songs. Except, I guess,
you.
for 2020s, because it's too soon to tell, but...
Yeah, too soon. Well, that's why I wanted to go backwards, but I was like,
yeah.
It was hard to, like, I mean, I could think of a bunch of songs, but, like, I didn't really want to listen to, like,
yeah.
you know, a slow ballad from the 40s, you know what I mean? So, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a few, like, representative and a few just, like, out there, so...
Yeah, I enjoyed them.
Yeah, fun exercise going through the decades and some good songs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess if there's nothing else, take us out.
All right, well, this has been Beach Views, mixtape by decades. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.